Welcome to Chief Experience Officer, Brand Experience multimedia series that features exclusive interviews with consumer-facing goods and retail thought leaders on building superior brand experiences. The CXO series also includes video interviews like the one you are watching right now with Luke Taggart, owner of Savor Salt. In this interview, we get to learn about how Luke is using product and package design innovation to transform consumer experiences. Our interview today is in the lovely city of Chicago, which a lot of you know is where my birth town and hometown is. And you hear a lot of the city behind you. So you hear the L and you hear some of the city noise, and it's really part of the music of the city and tells the story of the city and the brand. You'll find out later that Chicago plays a big part of Savor Salt. So here we are with the owner, Luke Taggart, and he's going to tell us a little bit about the origin story of the brand.
And I noticed that it was all pretty much the same thing. You get the traditional Bloody Mary flavor. Maybe you get mild or spicy, but there was really no difference between the different kind of flavors. And there's 20 kinds of different flavors of vodka, different flavors of rum, even margarita mixes has a bunch of different kind of flavors. And I thought it was very strange that you're kind of pigeonholed into one flavor. And so I really wanted to create something that was very different from everybody else. So that's when I just started doing these really crazy different cuisines and flavors that you don't really find in retail. And so the flavors are really good, and I was I think I have something here, but I wanted to take it another step further, kind of push the envelope and do something that nobody else is doing. I was how can I make this even cooler? I was just a lot of late nights thinking, what can I do to make this neat and unique? And so I was salt. Every Bloody Mary, even margaritas, they need salt on their own. But not just some plain ordinary salt. And I was how can I incorporate those two together? Because it's never been done. So let's say you're at retail and you want to put a nice salt rim on your glass at home. You have to buy salt separately, which is expensive, or you have to make all the spices yourself. Mix it together, make a mess. You either end up throwing the salt away anyways. And so I want to make something that was very unique and has never been done. And so that's when I came up with the idea for this salt container. It's the only 2-in-1 mix that you get. So it just makes it very easy and fast and convenient to do it at home. And together, it's just very unique, and nothing is out there like it.
Yeah, it's really interesting because when you think about the end brand experience of the product, and a lot of times that experience isn't controlled by the manufacturer because you're not able to go in there and make sure you put salt on that rim. But doing something like this, by making it more convenient, you're really changing the use environment and almost ensuring they're always going to put salt onto the rim of their drink and have the best experience with your beverage. Now you mentioned that the different flavors of the Bloody Marys, and when you're talking about the different flavors onto the salt. So is this plain salt that is in the containers, or is this a mix of salt?
Yeah, so it's not plain salt. So I wanted to do something I want to be fancy. I want to make it an upscale salt lid. So when you go to retail, mainly the only kind of salt you get is just regular kosher salt. Or if you go to restaurants, the only kind of salts that you get is kosher salt, or maybe sometimes you get celery salt. And I want to be completely different. And so each salt is different that comes in the container. So the salts are paired to the flavor of the mix. So the Asian Bloody Mary mix has a ginger wasabi salt, and the Mexican one has an ancho citrus salt. So these are very high scale, upscale salt blends.
Yeah. And this is something that these are flavors you did help develop when you were working in the restaurant business. So you actually have a lot of experience in kind of testing and getting feedback from consumers on different types of flavors. Could you talk a little bit about how your experience with all the consumers of food and beverage has helped you in your product development?
So the main thing that I was looking for when I was developing these flavors and the salts is what tastes good to me. I've worked, like I said, I've been in the industry my entire life. I've worked at a lot of nice restaurants, and so I cook a lot. I would consider myself a foodie. And so I really wanted to do these kind of globally cuisines, an Asian, a Mexican, a jerk themed Bloody Mary mix. And so really was just kind of identifying key tastes and flavors and just kind of building the Bloody Mary around that.
So some of the key tastes and flavors, you mentioned that there's 3 types of international flavors that are available for the Bloody Mary mix. What are some of the ingredients that you use in order to kind of really bring out the experience and the flavors and the notes in the liquor that's mixed with it?
Yeah, that's a good question. So when I was making all these different kinds of Bloody Mary mixes, I came down to like, if you can do 4 things right, I think anybody can make a really good Bloody Mary. One of them is body, and so I use tomato paste because you want a little bit thicker. Because in a Bloody Mary, you're adding ice and you're adding some kind of a spirit, so you're watering it down. You want it to have a little bit more body. You don't want it just to be like very thin. The next one is acid, and so every mix has some kind of vinegar in it and some kind of citrus, whether that's lime juice, orange juice, pineapple juice. The third one is going to be heat. I believe every Bloody Mary needs some kind of spice to it. I mean, it shouldn't like melt your face off so spicy, but you should definitely feel some kind of heat. And then the last one is just going to be like your salt and seasonings. But if you can do like those 4 things, those are like the base of like every one of my mixes.
I like the idea that you have this kind of base formula because it's a really smart strategic approach towards innovation. So you're not just going into the kitchen and just, you know, willy-nilly mixing things in. And that's something that you can really take across just about any type of design, whether it's product development, whether it's package design, whether it's making a beautiful space. Being able to kind of really think about it strategically is so important. And you actually thought about a lot of things strategically and broke them down into parts as far as your brand. Even your brand logos and the way that your artwork for your package design is created has a story and has different components to it, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah, so each label is it's a lot of the same similarities, but they're all different. And so like when I was thinking of what do I want with my product, like I wanted to, like I'm a very visual person, so like I wanted to look like art. And so it's kind of like the same logo on every bottle, but like the middle emblem is different. And so the middle emblem is kind of matched to the region that it represents. So on the Asian Bloody Mary mix, it's like a picture of Buddha. Or like the jerk Bloody Mary mix has like an emblem with like a voodoo doll, a lion head, a palm tree. You know, so it's like very specific to like the region it comes from. And then with the salt container, like I really wanted to incorporate the Chicago flag like somehow. I didn't know if that was going to be on my bottle or on the like an actual plastic container. And so we were kind of messing around with like how it should look, but I really wanted to make the entire salt container the Chicago flag because people do a really good job of supporting local businesses here in Chicago. And so that was just like a very good selling point that I wanted to incorporate as well.
We live in a fast-changing digital world. Dynamic communication and social expression influence just about everything we do. Business is digital. Impact is instant. Brands and customers interact in amazing new ways. From postage stamps to packaging and billboards, HP's Graphic Solutions business is leading these transformations, creating innovative digital print technologies that enable more effective, engaging communication between brands and end users.
I'm doing a high-rise tasting, and so like I'm really just trying to find like which ways are the best to build my brand awareness. You know, like I do a lot in retail, but I want to do something different and go like another route. And so like with these high-rise tastings, you're more on a personal level. They get to know you, like they really get to know you and your brand a lot better than like compared to at a retail space where it's just very, you know, fast-paced. People are just in and out, and so like you can really connect more on a personal level with like these high-rise tastings.
You're looking at different ways to innovate the cocktail experience, the Bloody Mary experience. How did you get this passion for innovation?
To be honest with you, like I just wanted to be different than everybody else. I think they kind of like, that's kind of how my personality is. Like I knew just from my years of being in the restaurant industry, like I knew what kind of mixers are out there. I've used them, I've bought them, I've tasted what other people are doing, and I really wanted to do something different than what everybody else is doing. Like, everybody's doing mild or spicy. Like I want to be on the other side. And so like I really just wanted to build an identity of just being an individual, but just different from everybody else. Like And the whole container with the different flavors, I think, puts me in just really a different kind of mixer category than what's currently out there.
Yeah, definitely. I think we can't emphasize enough the fact that having that the add-on 2-in-1 package, being able to have that salt right there, is really going to elevate the experience for everyone, because you're ensuring that they use the product correctly.
Yeah, so like I wanted to incorporate them both because salt adds another dimension to the beverage. So it's like the same concept. If you eat a steak, you season it, right? It's more flavors. So it's like the same concept of putting salt on the rim of the glass. And so combining those two to make it very fast, convenient, and easy at home, it was just a no-brainer. And it's really weird that nobody has ever done it before, because like when I was coming up with this, I was like, I wish they had a container like this. And then I was like, why don't I just make that container? So like, instead of like wishing why it's never been done, like I just made it happen.
And outside of your career, what's the biggest accomplishment that you're most proud of?
Outside of my career, probably say beating cancer 5 years ago was like the biggest accomplishment, like the biggest like hurdle I've ever had to like overcome.
That's huge. That's huge.
It's stage 3 colon cancer.
Stage 3 colon cancer. I maybe a little forward. You seem a little young.
Yeah, I was 29 when I had it.
That's a huge thing to overcome at such a young age. Was that around the time when you started thinking that you wanted to take a whole idea of working for yourself to the next level?
No, this was before that. This was before I even like got into Chicago.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you had this huge thing to overcome. Did it change your outlook as far as the way
For sure.
you think?
Yeah, you have kind of a different outlook on life. Once you think like you're going to die, I don't know, you just like think about things differently. Like you, just a little bit more motivation, you know?
Yeah, we've talked about the energy to do things. You find the energy because you
Don't put anything off. If you find something that you have passion, just like do it. It's like the main thing I got from it, you know? Live life to the fullest, have fun, enjoy life.
Something is happening. The familiar barcode is touching everything. Every surface, every sound, every image. Imperceptible to you, yet it's clear to sensors like your smartphone. All things have become their own channels. This is the engine driving the Internet of Things. This is Digimarc.
I worked on this for almost 2 years before I actually launched. So this was like a long time, like getting it right. So it was just like coming up with the right formulas for the actual mix, coming up with like the right salt blends. I mean, because it's a lot of work that goes into it. The actual mold for the container, like that took a long time to get right. Like with the right company, just like sifting through who the right people, you know, getting the prices right, getting the products right, like just getting all that stuff like really nailed down and fine-tuned took a lot of time.
So as a restaurateur, you've been able to pull on that experience, you know, with meals, with food, with beverage, to really create this kind of multi-sensorial approach to brand experience. How do you pull that in to Savor and Salt?
So Savor and Salt, I want it to be about savory things that taste really well, and then obviously the salt. And so the salt on the rim of the glass, it just adds more depth and flavor. You know, I use a lot of like kosher salt, a little bit more coarse, bigger kind of salt, with other flavorings and spices into it. So it really adds another like layer of taste within the beverage, and it complements each just specific flavor very well. As far as the savor in it, you know, I really try to, it's very food friendly. Like when people try these, it's like, oh my gosh, that's so good, I could cook with it. Like it's a lot of the same like flavors that you get with like a lot of like the food that you get from these cuisines, whether that's, you know, ginger, garlic, hoisin barbecue sauce, soy sauce, rice vinegar. I mean, it's a lot of like food friendly ingredients that go into these things. And so It really kind of plays on all the senses in your mouth, whether that's, you know, sweet, sour, tangy. You get like a nice spice. You get some heat from a lot of different spices that are into it.
Yeah, I love the way the salt gives you kind of this the crunch on your crunch when you first put the glass to your mouth. I love the way that you add spices to it, so you have that kind of aromatic feel. And the fact that you mentioned earlier that you use tomato paste, so you have this velvet that kind of offsets the crunch of the salt. You really thought about the whole brand experience in a very holistic way, which is so smart, so very, very smart. And I love the fact that you did these kind of international cuisines, but you kept them local. So let's talk a little bit more again about this salt. And let's go back to the package design. Package design obviously isn't the main focus of our conversation. We want to talk about you as an expert in brand experience. So package design is part of the brand experience, so it needs to be talked about. So your package design has this wonderful add-on with the salt. Could you tell me a little bit about the salt container? Touch on a little bit about the Chicago flag, maybe even demonstrate how it works for the consumer.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a bottle of my jerk here, which we have, it sits flush on top of this bottle. So cool thing about it, you can spin it, but with the container, it's a twist top, and each one has a bag just to keep all the salts fresh. But you just dump it in here. Fits a pint glass, so you can just put it on, and you can put it on back on the bottle. So it doesn't take up any space. It's very it just fits very, very well. It's pretty much form-fitting to the bottle, so it's not like this big bulky thing on top. With the package design, I really wanted to incorporate the Chicago flag because, as we talked about earlier, people in the city really support local products, and so this was like the big selling point. So when people are walking by and they see it on the shelf, they're like, oh, it's the flag. That has to be from Chicago. They're gonna pick it up and oh, what's this thing on here? This looks very different. I've never seen this thing on a bottle before. So it kind of adds to the whole thing. I mean, because with all the other bottles, it's just the plain kind of wine bottle look, but with this, it kind of has an irregular shape. And so with that irregular shape, I wanted to make sure that I incorporated the Chicago flag somehow. And what we were talking about earlier is that I really wanted it to look like art. Because it's the same way with food, you eat with your eyes first. And so I wanted to kind of bring that same concept to the label design. And so I really wanted to make it look like art. And so I kept the same design, but the middle emblem changes for each mix. And it's very specific to the region or the flavor of Bloody Marys.
And it tells a story. When we have talked to people like the former CMO of McDonald's, who's also obviously, McDonald's is a big restaurant company, fast food, but restaurant, that he believes in storytelling, that storytelling is a very big part of what marketers need to do. And you've done that with this. You have the emblem, you have the icon, you tell a story behind the flavors, you tell a story of the ethnicity. And so you really are able to do that. You're doing storytelling within the emblem. And I also thought it was smart when you talked about the footprint. That doesn't take up much space. Was that part of your experience behind the bar at the restaurant, that you knew that the salt containers needed to be easy to get to, and you were thinking about the credit space behind the bar?
Yeah, so I just really thought of a problem and the need. And the problem is at home, if you want salt, you have to either do it yourself or you have to buy it separate. And a lot of the salt containers that you buy separate, it's in these really big containers that take up a lot of space, and you're never going to use that much salt, ever. And so you're buying something that you're never going to but with this, you get enough salt per bottle. It's going to last you. You're going to have more salt than what you need. But it's just, when you're done, you toss it.
And what's interesting also about the package is that it is a reflection of a theme throughout your brand. So you have Savor and Salt. You're doing things in pairs. And here again, you're doing things in pairs with the structure. Was that part of your thinking as well when you came up with the name, that you're going to have a two-part system and that here you wanted to have a two-part name?
Yeah, so I put a lot of thought into the name. Probably for 5 or 6 months, I would just think of a name and just put it in my phone. Just okay, that could be it. That could be it. And I was just playing around with it. And I was Savor. And then I was I forgot I was just looking at stuff. And I was Savor and Salt. I was Savor and Salt. as soon as I started like said it a couple of times, I was like, that's it. Like I just knew, because like it ties in perfectly to both. Like you get the savor, which is like the really like unique and good flavor of the Bloody Mary mix, and then obviously with the salt, and just like it to me, it just sounded catchy and it kind of like went together really well.
Awesome. Are you finding that the name is resonating with brand awareness? Do people remember your name?
Yeah, for sure. A lot of people like, I've had a lot of people like, I really like your name. I really like your logo. Like it's, like the actual like label and the name is going over like really well.
Yeah. So the logo is kind of a play on the cocktail. And it has a lot of great little visual elements as far as the branding goes.
Yeah, so obviously with the little cocktail sword and the olive going through like the Savor and Salt, it has a little pint glass up here. But it's just kind of like that, I don't know, hipster logo look, I guess, that's like very in right now, but I think it looks really cool. I mean, I looked at a lot of different logos and this is probably, obviously is like my favorite one.
Yeah, what I really loved about how you had the cocktail sword too is that it almost looks like a trouble cloth. And so it's kind of, it's this beautiful type of way to talk about the notes, different notes in your flavors. So it really kind of brings in the branding and tells the story again of the product within the brand.
Yep, absolutely.